Somber news out of the NFL last night with Broncos owner Pat Bowlen passing away at the age of 75. Our condolences to his family. Shannon, obviously, you knew him well. What are your thoughts?
Jen, I knew him very well, and I'm very, very sad to wake up this morning to this news. Bronco country, the NFL lost a great guy. Skip, people talk about being unselfish. I think the highest honor you can receive as an honor is to have your team win the championship in your particular sport. And when Mr. Bowlen won the Super Bowl after we beat the Packers, he didn't say, "I'm so happy for myself." He uttered 4 words. "This one's for John." It meant more to him to win the trophy for John Elway than it did for himself. That shows you the type of man that he was. Skip, I am so sad. Less than 2 months from going into the Hall of Fame, and although he had been suffering from Alzheimer's for the better part of 6 or 7 years, Skip, man, this hurt me, Skip. This really hurt me because I knew him on a different level than just owner-player. I knew him on a much personal level, and he was a very good friend. And I remember going back when I retired, Skip, he told me, he says, "You don't need a ticket." He says, "Your face is your credential. You're always welcome to anything that's Broncos related." And I am so sad. I'm so sad. I'm hurt for his family, Miss B, Annabelle, his family, and all the Bronco country out there. But we'll get through this.
I defer to you on this one. I did not know him. I don't know that much about him, but I appreciate your sentiments about him, and I'm very sorry to hear that he passed.
Very well said,
Thank you,
Shannon.
Skip.
Again, our
Appreciate it.
thoughts and prayers with the Bowlen family today. All right, let's go back to the finals. Kawhi Leonard led the Raptors to their first NBA title last night, named Finals MVP for his efforts. It is the second time Kawhi has won the award. The Claw came so close to being a unanimous choice, receiving 10 out of 11 votes. Kawhi averaged about 29 points, 10 boards in the finals, but he did not make a shot in the fourth quarter last night, only free throws. So, Shannon, did he deserve that MVP award?
He absolutely deserved it. And Hubie Brown, you became a prisoner of the moment. I mean, for Fred VanVleet, for you to give him a vote, Hubie, you've been around the game. You've covered the game longer than I've been around. But Fred VanVleet, to get what? Yeah, I understand, because it seems to me that Hubie Brown is from his and Skip Bayless are from that same school. But Fred VanVleet landed the plane. Hell, somebody got to get the plane up in the air. And that was Kawhi. So, yes, he deserved it. More than deserved it.
He can get it up in the air.
No, stop it, Skip, stop.
I'd rather have somebody who could land my plane. I don't know about you.
Well, how you going to take off?
Well,
Go sit on the runway then.
I can handle that.
You know what, Skip? Look, I'm looking at Kawhi's numbers, 28, 10, and 4. Skip, he was unbelievable. He almost was a 40, 50, 90. Skip, he shot 49% from the floor. He shot 38% from the 3. He shot 88% from the free throw line through 23 games in the playoffs. Skip, he was fabulous. You know what he represents. Yes, I get it. At some point in time, you're going to have to move on past this hurt, Skip. It's like any relationship. Sometimes when your girlfriend and your boyfriend leave you, it hurts for a while, but you learn to deal with it. As long as they're happy, that's all you care about, Skip. That's what you should care about. But, Skip, he was phenomenal. You remember him in Game 3 on the road. And let me tell you something that it was reported that after they lost Game 2, Nick Nurse gathered his team up in the locker room. He said, "Guys, all we have to do is go to Oakland, the Warriors, and win one." Kawhi stood up and said, "F that. Let's go get both of them." Now, had Michael Jordan said that, had Kobe Bryant said that, oh, my goodness, did you hear what Kobe said? Did you hear what Michael said? But because this is so outside of what we think Kawhi's personality is, it basically passed without getting a blip. But old Kawhi, old show enough, the corn-rolled assassin, was true to form. And I told you, they even had Mr. Russell in attendance last night. He's one of 3 men that can say, you know what? I've been at 2 locales, and I won a title, and I've been Finals MVP at both. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, and now Kawhi Leonard gets to have a seat at that table. He more than deserved it. It wasn't going to be close. Now, had the Golden State won in 7, Skip, you might have had that thing might have been nip and tuck between Clay and Steph. But this was a no-brainer for me. Kawhi Leonard showed, and he proved it.
It was Clay,
his
what was
haters.
happening. Clay would have been the MVP, as I predicted.
Well, your prediction is wrong because your team lost. But anyway, sure enough, he proved all his haters that he was right, that his quad had tendinosis, and he sat it down, and the Toronto Raptors says, what you need, Kawhi? You want Danny Green? Hey, throw in Danny Green. You want this? You want your entourage? We got you.
Yeah.
And guess what happened, Skip? It was all worth it. I don't know if Kawhi's going to stay or go, but it was worth it. They mortgaged the franchise to get him, and he rewarded them with a title. He showed he's a number one, and he can win. Not with Pop, not with Tim Duncan, Manu, or Tony Parker, because they had nothing to do with this. It was all Kawhi, and I'm happy. I'm proud to be we the North this morning.
we the North. I got it. So Toronto crawled for the claw, and they succeeded because crime pays. At least in this case, crime paid. And by the way, speaking of this great new leader that number 2 turned into, it was just a year ago in the San Antonio locker room. He got put on the hot seat by 2 surefire Hall of Famers, Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, who said, are you with us or against us? Are you going to play hurt or not? I don't know.
No.
I don't know. You're out. I'm sorry. You're off the list. And by the way, I would like to point out, I am proudly wearing my Spurs colors today because I'm representing.
You're in mourning.
Yeah. What's that? I'm not in mourning. No, look, I got
mourning.
Spurs. It's silver and black. You got that? Silver and black. I've got my Spurs shoes on. I'll show you that. But here's the point.
You should have on some gold.
I can make a strong case that Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet were at least as valuable as number 2. And Hubie Brown, for whom I have the utmost respect, did make a strong case for Fred VanVleet because clearly he is this team's closer. He closed that game last night. He closes every game. Number 2, not made for fourth quarters. I told you this before the finals. I told you this before the playoffs started. He doesn't have a fourth quarter backbone in him. He never has, and we saw it again and again and again and again in these finals.
Skip, are you sure? I'm going to give you an opportunity. Are you sure he doesn't have a fourth quarter backbone? Are you sure about that?
Is it my turn to talk or yours? I'm just wondering, because I think I was rudely interrupted. I think I was just about to make my case here, right?
Okay, well, go ahead and make your case.
Thank you very much. So, Kyle Lowry, let's talk about, well, first, Fred VanVleet. You rudely interrupted me. Fred VanVleet did a sensationally underrated job of defending Steph Curry because he had him nose to nose. Sometimes it was box and one nose to nose, but he did a job of hounding and dogging Steph Curry through these 6 games. Now, Kyle Lowry was the driving force of this team, and I believe he's the stronger leader than number 2 is, obviously because he's been there longer. But every big moment, he shredded their defense off the dribble. He was the one who kept just unlocking the lane. He was slicing and dicing every coverage by getting in the lane and kicking it out. And the big turning point game was obviously game 3 at Oracle, and he goes for 23 and 9 assists in that game, and that was huge. And last night was huger because, as you know, he scores 15 in the first quarter and 21 in the first half on his way to 26 and 7 assists, and was, again, the driving force. He was the one creating so much of their offense. So he winds up for the 6 games a plus 33, while number 2 winds up a plus 15, which was 6th on the Raptors. So let's see, plus 33, then down to plus. Oh, so one guy had plus 33. The other guy was 6th on the team in plus minus. That's interesting. And then let's talk about last night, shall we? Last night, number 2 in the big closeout game at Oracle was a -2 for the night in plus minus. -2, while Kyle Lowry was a plus 16. That's a big gap there from plus 16 down to -2. And that... Yeah, go ahead.
What was Fred VanVleet last night? With all that accolades, with all those exploits, he was -10.
Okay.
So let that sink in for just a second.
But
he was -10 and plus minus.
What was he in the fourth quarter? Want to check that out? Let's check that out. So here's the point.
Go ahead. I'll let you make your point. Go ahead and make your point.
In the fourth quarter last night, number 2 went 0 for 4 and 0 for 2 from 3. This is it. This is a nip-tuck game. This is seesaw. This is a fierce battle. This is for it because we all know if you get back to Game 7, anything could happen in Game 7 at Toronto. So you need him to land your plane, and he's careening off the runway. And he scored 3 points in the fourth quarter. And when did those 3 come? They came on free throws after the game had been decided with 0.9 seconds left. 0.9 seconds left. He scores 3 free throws, and he still won MVP. You know why? Because the media, it may be a me thing, I don't know, but the media is protecting him the way they haven't protected anybody this side of LeBron James. The most overprotected superstar in sports is this guy. He could have called in sick for that game last night, and if Toronto had won, he would have still gotten the MVP. Because we look at 3 of the 6 games in the fourth quarter, he disappeared. How about game 2? Do you remember what happened over the last 8 minutes? Clay is gone. Steph is still gone. He's out on the court and goes 0 for 0. And they lost the game. Why was that? Because number 2 failed to show. Remember that game? He went 0 for 3 from 3 in the last 8 minutes and 0 for 2 from 2 in the last minute and a half, right? And then how about the other night after that little flurry he had? What happened in the last 3:28 at home? This is in Toronto of game 5. He just disappears. He goes 0 for 2 down the stretch, and they blow a 6-point lead, and he's the MVP. And I'm going to say this again. I still can't figure out how he was the MVP in 2014 as the Spurs blew LeBron's Heat